What is up, everyone? So today there is a 6 3/4 Briggs & Stratton Toro lawnmower here. 190cc, front wheel drive, pretty standard little mower. I got this about 2 weeks ago, but unfortunately due to some work and the holidays, I just haven't been able to look at it. And here we are. This is my neighbor's. He said he was driving and he literally saw someone put this on the edge of the road and was in the process of taping something to the handle, and he stopped and said that he asked if it was free. He says yes, tossed it in the back of his truck, and here it is. That's as much as I know about it. Let's go ahead and let's go over everything one by one. This is going to be what you can do if you're in this situation. So I'll go ahead and put you down so you can see a little bit more of a broader view, and we'll continue from there. I do have to ask, if my mic is not doing very well, please let me know. I just purchased a new one because my old one decided to not work anymore, and yeah, that wasn't any fun. And whoever makes that mic decided that their product was grossly undervalued and decided to triple the cost. This one was even higher rated, a little bit more than the old one used to be, so I decided to give this one a try. Anyway, having said that, let's go ahead and take a look. Well, hold on there. Over 90% of you, according to YouTube, are not currently subscribed. You're watching this video, but you're currently not subscribed. So I'm going to welcome you to subscribe at the end if this helped you out. I work on a lot of machines, so maybe the machine you're watching is going to be something you own, but who knows? Maybe you own a generator, a pressure washer, a big mower, a chainsaw, a variety of things. The only way to know if I'm going to fix it in the future is by subscribing, and maybe I get to the one that you own and can help you out then too. So I welcome you to subscribe, put a thumbs up if it does help you out. Back to your normal video. Uh-oh. Very little compression. Is there oil? There's oil. Yeah, it's dirty, but it's completely full. That's good. Is there fuel? Over half a tank. So, technically, this should run, except the compression is very low. If it was low oil, this is a 5/16, by the way. I'm just going to take off the air filter cover. I want to take a look at the air filter. The air filter is so dirty or packed with oil, can't really suck in a whole lot of air. I've seen it where, yeah, something like this, very similar. There's not a whole lot of compress, just a little bit more than atmosphere. So that could probably not the problem, but it's probably making the problem worse. We'll go ahead and throw that away. Let's find something explosive and see if it will pop off for us. Found some carb cleaner, or brake parts cleaner, non-chlorinated. Some people say that's not needed, but I'm not one of them. Wouldn't that be funny if all this was just a really bad filter, even though it wasn't all that bad? It was, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't to that level. Yep, we have something to do with the fuel system. So I say there's a screw here and a screw here, both Phillips, standard Phillips. That's going to allow us to take off this cover. That's not 100% necessary, but it is going to make things a whole lot easier. I'm going to take that off and then we'll get to work. Now we have some viewing room. Everything seems to be looking pretty good. Let's see if this moves freely. Oof. No. I don't know if that's the carb that's adding some resistance. I don't think it's the arm. The arm seems like it wants to move, but it's just down here it might be all gummed up. All that seems normal. So let's go ahead and take off this plate, and then we will get to taking off the carb. There's one thing about the Northwest I can say is that it always keeps you guessing. 4 weeks ago I was wearing shorts, 90 degrees, and today I'm still wearing shorts, but now it's a comfortable 90. It's a brisk 40 degrees outside, and tonight it's supposed to get down to 22. 4 weeks. So I just took off the little arm. That way when I take off the carburetor, that's all done. Just a 1/4 inch takes that right off. And we're going to go ahead and take off these 3 5/16. Save you the torment of listening to the impact. Looks like the gasket is still on the carb, and it's not looking horrible, but you don't really want to reuse it as we have to. Oh yeah, that was stuck. And it was stuck closed of all things, so if it was going to cause a problem, if it was running, it would just be choking the entire time. We didn't have that problem, so let's go ahead. I'm going to take off this little spring because that just loves to fall or get stretched. Now I'll just leave it right there. So I'm going to take off the fuel line with some fuel line pliers and also a small pair of vice grips. The small pair of vice grips is going to help us with the fuel flow. Boom. Because it does have fuel in it. We don't know if it's good though. We'll take a look at it before we reconnect anything now. There we go. And even that was kind of sticky and gooey. I have a feeling this was sitting for quite some time. Most likely without fuel, or at least very little fuel in it. And when my neighbor went to go try it, the fuel that's in there is probably his. I neglected to ask that question, mainly because both him and I were in a little bit of a hurry when he was dropping it off, because he literally was dropping it off from picking it up. So there's that. That's always super fun. Hopefully you heard all that. I realized my mic was facing a little bit of the wrong direction. I've long since fixed that issue. Oh man, I smell fuel now. It's not pleasant fuel either. It usually doesn't require that much work to take off the carburetor. However, you do want to press down this plastic part of the butterfly. Otherwise, if you don't, you pry up off the linkage, you could break that plastic piece right off, and then this is pretty much garbage, because trying to find just that piece, unless you have a broken carb or just too bad of a corroded carb or something you can steal parts from. Yeah. Let's go ahead and see what's inside. I'm going to take a wire brush real quick and get this kind of cleaned up before we do so, and then we will go from there. Oh man, that was a dirty carb. I actually did this off video, but just to let you know, I had to basically completely rebuild the carb, and there was silicone on it. It was a giant mess. Check out my video on how to clean one of these carbs if you want to see that. I'd recommend doing that anyway, just because if you don't want to watch the whole video of this or anything like it, you could just skip to the carb part. But that's just me. So I have it on the linkage. Before I was going to anchor it down, I'm going to actually check the fuel, because I don't know what the condition of that fuel is, if it has junk, if it's old, if it's new, if it's purple. I don't know. So I'm going to take that back off, and we'll take a look at it. This was kind of clean. It's probably going to get some dirt from like the outside of the fuel line, but or nothing. No fuel at all. It's like bubbling. Kind of dripping now. Is the fuel cap just too tight? No. There was silicone in the carb. Maybe it's made its way through the fuel line. Oh yeah, that's what happened. Getting a little bit of silicone there. It's coming out better now, but that's not gonna be good. The fuel itself looks older, not super old, but also not something that I would personally want to keep in there. I'm going to replace the fuel line and drain it out, and then we'll continue on from there. I drained out about 2 of those little cupfuls, and oddly enough, after a while, the gas became quite decent. So, we are going to try to save it for 2 or a couple reasons. One, gas is expensive today. I don't know where you live, but where I live is December 2022 currently. I'll probably won't be putting this in 2022. Probably be released in 2023, but gas is about $4.89 for regular. Yeah. So we're going to tip this bad boy up like so. And if you want to remove the tank completely, which I do, there's a screw down here, which you can't see because of the pliers, but right there, and that's going to remove the tank entirely, so I can position it in a way where I can lean it down and put a new fuel line on. When putting a new fuel line on, take a section of fuel line, put it up next to your old one, and cut it at the same length. Simple, no measuring tape, no nothing, just simple, cut it, put it on. Ideally it's the same diameter, both inside and out. As long as it's the same inside, you could probably get away with having a little bit thicker of a line. You don't really need to, but the inside is important. But also, keep in mind, if you get a little bit thicker of a line, these clips may not work anymore. Okay, so we have the carb put back together. We have it cleaned. Like I said, if you want to know exactly how to clean this specific carb or any carb like it, then definitely catch that video. It's just called How to Clean a Brakes Extracting Carb. Pretty simple and easy. But we have the cover on. We have good fuel. We have a new air filter. Oil is still cold and old, so we're going to have to warm up at the very least in the beginning, and we're going to give it a pull. Let's see what happens. Seems fine to me. Wheels work, engine runs, doesn't surge, seems like it's pretty good. So all I need is a good carb cleaning. So if you have a Toro or a Briggs & Stratton of this age and model type, and you're having this exact same problem, give yourself a good cleaning of a good carburetor, replace the fuel line if needed, like we had to do on this one because it's full of silicone, which reminds me, never use silicone. If you're working on the carb, buy the kit. I explained that very thoroughly in my video I just made. But other than that, as you can tell, we have a good running mower. So I'm going to give this back to my neighbor and tell him Merry Christmas, because we're about a week away. You're probably watching as well after Christmas, but this is going to be his Christmas gift. So put a thumbs up, like and subscribe, follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101, and I will catch you on the next video. Have a good night.